new decade brought many positive changes for women. In 1920, women gained the right to vote. One outspoken woman named Margaret took on the fight to legalize birth control. Previously a nurse, Sanger dedicated her adult life to being a birth control activist. She opened the first ever birth control clinic in the United States and was the founder of an organization that came to be known as Planned Parenthood. Today, Planned Parenthood is still a leading provider of birth control in America.
We're more than childbearing machines!
Dry up, you dumb Dora!
Son, you don't need to see this.
Sanger's opinions were very radical for her time. Many men and women did not consider birth control a moral option. To further understand Sanger and her motives, we included an interview with Sanger from 1923.
Margaret, there have been many negative comments in the press recently regarding your support of eugenics. What do you make of all this?
The campaign for birth control is not merely of eugenic value, but is practically identical with the final aims of eugenics. Many people are intimidated and even offended by my willingness to speak openly about this private subject. A woman must not accept but challenge. She must revere that woman inside of her that struggles for expression.
Women recently gained the right to vote, an important step in women gaining their overall rights. Why is it so important for birth control to be legalized for the women's rights movement?
Birth control is the first important step women must take towards their goal of freedom. It's the first step they must take to be man's equal.
I think we can always use more. In a family where no one talks about it, you can learn about it to really make sure that some of that information is covered early. That and the other parts of reproductive health, like teaching about sexually transmitted infections and prevention and that kind of thing. Attitudes have changed about that in the last 50 years since it's been a little more than 50 years since we've had like oral contraceptives, birth control pills. But every generation there are people who are young who don't know much about it. Yeah, well, oral contraceptives have been a huge boon to women, and being able to make reproductive choices rather than having a baby every 15 months or whatever, is great. They've improved, the pills themselves have improved a lot because the dosages that we started out on were so high 30 years ago. The dosages were considerably higher. So that was a good reason for a lot of people to quit taking them because they make them nauseous or emotional, that kind of thing. So that's been a big improvement. There have been some attempts to pass laws that prohibit organizations, companies who have a religious affiliation from allowing their insurances to cover contraception. So that's actually going the wrong way. Now that you can get birth control when you're a teenager, that's really great, and that has reduced our rates of teen pregnancy by a lot, but not as much. They're not as low as they are, say, in Sweden and Denmark and Holland and other countries where they teach about reproductive, health at a much younger age. One of the best things I think we have now is these kinds of access clinics that teach teens how to take charge of their own health.